It was a crisp autumn morning in a busy downtown neighborhood. The streets were alive with the chatter of people heading to work, the smell of freshly brewed coffee wafting from nearby cafes. Among them was Rachel Green, a middle-aged white woman with a sharp sense of entitlement. Rachel had grown up in a privileged environment, her biases left unchallenged by the sheltered bubble she lived in. Rachel walked into her favorite coffee shop, Morning Brew, wearing an expensive coat and clutching a designer handbag. The shop was buzzing with life, filled with people from all walks of life. Standing in line ahead of her was Angela Morris, a young black woman in her late 20s, wearing a simple yet stylish outfit. Angela was a graphic designer, well-educated and respected in her field. As the line moved forward, Rachel grew visibly impatient, tapping her foot and sighing loudly. Angela noticed but chose to ignore her. When it was Angela's turn to order, Rachel suddenly snapped, "Are you going to take all day? Some of us have important places to be." Angela turned around, surprised. She replied calmly, "I'm just ordering my coffee, like everyone else." Rachel scoffed and rolled her eyes. "People like you always think you can hold everyone up. Typical." The words hung in the air, sharp and heavy. The entire cafe fell silent. Angela froze for a moment, stunned by the blatant insult. She could feel the eyes of the other customers on her, some watching in shock, others pretending not to notice. Angela took a deep breath and said, "Excuse me? What do you mean by people like me?" Rachel, emboldened by her own ignorance, replied smugly, "You know exactly what I mean. Always causing problems, never thinking about anyone else. Just get your coffee and move on." Angela's heart raced, but she maintained her composure. "I don't know who you think you're talking to, but your assumptions say more about you than they do about me." The barista, a young college student named Sarah, stepped in. "Ma'am," she said, addressing Rachel, "there's no need to be rude. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect." But Rachel wasn't done. "Respect?" she snapped. "Respect is earned, and frankly, people like her don't deserve it." The room was thick with tension. Angela, still calm but visibly hurt, turned to Rachel. "You don't know anything about me, but you've already decided I'm less than you. Why? Because of the color of my skin?" Rachel crossed her arms defensively. "Oh, don't pull the race card. That's what people like you always do." Angela shook her head. "This isn't a card, it's my life. Every single day, I deal with people who think they're better than me for no reason other than the way I look. But today, I'm not letting it slide." A man sitting nearby spoke up. "She's right. You're out of line." Others chimed in, voicing their support for Angela. Rachel looked around, realizing she was no longer in control of the situation. She muttered, "You're all so sensitive these days. Can't even say anything without someone getting offended." Angela, determined not to let Rachel's words define her, replied firmly, "Words have power, and the ones you've chosen today reflect the kind of person you are. I hope you take a good look at yourself and ask why you feel the need to tear others down." The barista, Sarah, handed Angela her coffee and said quietly, "I'm so sorry you had to deal with that." Angela nodded, offering a small smile before walking to a table. Rachel, still fuming, ordered her drink and sat down a few tables away. She noticed Angela open her laptop and begin working, her posture calm and focused. Rachel couldn't help but watch as other customers came over to check on Angela, offering kind words and support. Something about the scene began to unsettle Rachel. For the first time, she felt a flicker of doubt. Why had she reacted so harshly? Angela hadn't done anything wrong. Rachel's thoughts raced back to her upbringing, the subtle and overt biases she had absorbed over the years. She'd never questioned them until now. After several minutes of silence, Rachel stood up and walked over to Angela's table. She hesitated before speaking. "Excuse me," she said softly. Angela looked up, her expression neutral. "Yes?" Rachel took a deep breath. I just, I wanted to say I'm sorry for what I said earlier. It was wrong and I shouldn't have spoken to you that way." Angela studied her for a moment before replying. "Why are you apologizing?" Rachel hesitated, then said, "Because I realize now that I was out of line. I acted on assumptions and biases that aren't fair. I don't want to be that person." Angela nodded slowly. Apologizing is a start, but the real work is figuring out why you felt the need to say those things in the first place. Change doesn't happen overnight. Rachel nodded. "You're right. I've got a lot to learn." Angela offered a small smile. "We all do." Over the next few weeks, Rachel couldn't shake the encounter. She began reading books and articles about racism and bias, attending community workshops, and having difficult conversations with friends and family. She started to see the world and herself in a new light. One day, Rachel returned to the coffee shop and saw Angela sitting at the same table. Summoning her courage, she walked over. "Mind if I sit?" she asked. Angela looked up, surprised but not unkind. "Sure." Rachel explained the steps she had taken since their last meeting, the effort she was making to confront her own biases. Angela listened, nodding occasionally. Finally, Rachel said, "I don't expect forgiveness or anything like that. I just wanted you to know that you opened my eyes, and I'm grateful." Angela replied, "It's not about forgiveness, it's about accountability, and if you're willing to do the work, that's what matters." The two women talked for a while longer, finding common ground despite their differences. The video ends with Angela's voice. Change starts with uncomfortable conversations and honest reflection. It's not easy, but it's necessary. We all have a role to play in building a better, more equitable world. If this story moved you, don't let it stop here. Start your own journey of reflection and learning. Share this video to spark conversations, hit like to support the message, and subscribe for more stories that challenge and inspire. Together, we can create a world where understanding and respect replace hate and ignorance.